Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 2 of ApeStarter. So just make sure that you've actually gone through lesson 1 before you do this lesson, where we're going to look at actually executing transactions with Ape. So this is really powerful. You can use Ape to automate any type of transaction with any smart contract that you're interested in. So you can automate NFT purchases and deck swaps. And anything else. Kind of the possibilities are endless there. It's really great stuff. You can start off by making a copy of this notebook to your drive. Same as last time, you can find this notebook either in the tweet below this tweet or the section below this section if you're finding this on the website. And we can go ahead and get started. Just as in lesson 1, we're going to install Ape, the Ape Alchemy plugin and the Ape Scan plugin. That'll just take a minute to do. There's actually a way with Google Colab to kind of save this kind of file environment to your Google Drive, so you don't need to install everything every time. I guess extra points to whoever's going through the course and figures that out by themselves. Let me know if you managed to teach yourself that. We are pretty much done installing everything. Now, just like last time, to be able to actually use these things that you've installed, you'll have to restart your runtime. As you can see, that's being restarted here in this virtual machine bestowed upon us by our overlords at Google. And this time, we're going to connect to an Ethereum testnet instead of actually connecting to Ethereum mainnet. We're going to start off by, importing some of the libraries that we need, and then we have to enter an API key. This time, we're going to be using Ethereum's Girly testnet. I actually don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, in your Alchemy account, they'll actually have already given you a Girly API key, so you can just go to view key and you can copy that and copy that into your notebook, replace it right here, and there we go. The API key is now in. So like I mentioned in the last lesson, you can connect to any EVM chain using Ape, whichever you like, as long as there's a plugin for it, although you don't need an additional plugin if you want to connect to Ethereum or one of Ethereum's testnets. Now, a testnet is a network that's used by developers to try out contracts and try out protocol upgrades in a low-risk environment before actually going on to the real deal in mainnet. And on a testnet, you can spin up wallets just as you would on mainnet and fill them up with fake tokens that you can use to pay the gas fees for making transactions or kind of do any sort of swaps or deposits or whatever you'd like, as if you were on the real Ethereum. So this code block here will connect us to Girly. It's Ethereum, Girly, and we're using the Alchemy API as our endpoint. Great. And now we're going to create a wallet. So obviously, as you probably be familiar with, you can't execute a transaction without a wallet or a contract. Only wallets or contracts can do that. So we're going to make a wallet and we're going to fund it with testnet ETH so that we can make transactions. This command here will allow us to create a wallet that I'm going to call test wallet. So you'll run that. It's going to ask us to add some entropy. You can just enter any random string of characters you want there. It's not that important because this is just a test that we're doing. So type in garbage. And then we're going to create a passphrase. For the sake of this exercise, I'm just going to make it pass. Ask us to repeat, and I'm just going to call it pass. Yeah. And so now we've got a new account, and this is its address on the Girly testnet. Copy that because you're going to need it, and remember that the passphrase was pass, or whatever you decide to call it, because we're going to need that for the next few sections. First thing we're going to do is get some testnet ETH into this wallet. So if you go to this faucet made by the great team at Alchemy, kind of helping us out again, you'll be able to log in and get some of that testnet ETH. Yeah, here we are. So we're going to enter the address of the wallet that we just made, and we're going to ask them to send us ETH. I don't know why that was putting that there. Anyway, yeah. So you can check out the transaction where they're sending us this ETH. Might just take a minute to actually show up. You can get 0.05 every 24 hours. There's a weird thing going on right now where it's actually hard to get Girly ETH. There's just like a lot of demand for testnet ETH, even though it's completely worthless, and so it ends up being a bit troublesome. There we go. It's finally hitting the blockchain. I should probably just fast forward this part because it's a bit boring, just waiting. Nice. Okay, so that took forever, but I finally got my testnet ETH. I actually cheated a bit. I kind of sped run things by just sending this address some Girly ETH that I already had in my main account. You shouldn't have to do that. Usually faucets should work, but right now a lot of them are like running dry or having problems. So I would say that try out the Alchemy faucet first, and if you're not getting any testnet ETH doing that, check out the ApeWorks Discord and ask the community if somebody can send you a little bit of testnet ETH. Have them send it to your main wallet so that then you can fill any random wallets that you make in situations like this when you need to. It is unfortunate that right now we are in that situation where testnet ETH is a bit more scarce than it should be, but yeah, it is what it is. But moving forward, we've got some ETH in our testnet wallet, and now we're going to actually load up that wallet, and we're going to configure it to automatically sign all transactions. Now, this is actually a very dangerous thing to do. In most cases, you want to review transactions before signing them. But, for the sake of this exercise, we're just going to allow it. You have to replace this bit here with the actual passphrase that you made. We decided to call ours pass. That will load. Test wallet, we call it test wallet, and it's going to set it to AutoSign Transactions. So we'll run that. Nice. And in the next step, we're going to execute a transaction using Ape. Specifically, we're going to mint an NFT. So I've already deployed an NFT contract on Girly testnet that you can mint from an unlimited number of times. Of course, this is just one example of the endless types of transactions that you can do. Shout out to ThirdWeb, which is another great dev tool. I used ThirdWeb to very quickly spin up that NFT contract. And yeah, as long as you know which contract you want to interact with, and which function to call on that contract. You can pretty much automate any on-chain activity. So we're going to use this command to create an interactive instance of our test NFT right here. I'm gonna run that. This test NFT, if we go onto Etherscan and check out the functions on there, it also has a balance of function, which just asks for what's the address and what's the ID of the NFT to check how many NFTs that address owns. So we're going to take our wallet address, stick it in here, and check how many of the NFTs of ID 0 does it own. This is an ERC1155, so there can be many NFTs with the same ID. We'll check. You should have 0 because obviously you haven't claimed any of those NFTs yet. And to claim, if we take a look at the contract again, there is a claim function amongst the functions that takes a lot of parameters. Now, some of these we might not know what we need for them, like what is proofs, but thankfully, ThirdWeb has pretty good documentation on how these claim functions work. So you can always kind of mess about on Etherscan, look at the contract yourself, figure out how all the functions work. But if a protocol has good documentation, you can just check out the documentation and that will save you a ton of time. So we can see that to claim a ThirdWeb edition, we just need to have the address that's receiving the NFT, what the token ID is, the quantity that we want, and all of this other stuff. So I've already kind of filled in what we need here. We're going to call the claim function with us being the receiver, NFT ID 0, we only want 1. The currency address is the ETH address, and then there's some other stuff here around proofs that is just mentioned in the documentation. We have set the sender to be the account variable that we made. So this wallet that we just made is the sender of the transaction. In most cases, you don't need to actually mess around with setting the specific gas fee, but in this case, that's annoying. In this case, I increased the max fee that we need a little bit because this transaction needs that. If a transaction doesn't have, you didn't provide enough gas, you'll get an error message and you'll know to kind of tweak that a little bit. Great, so let me go ahead and claim one of these NFTs. It's using test wallet. And, that transaction is being executed on Gurley. This will just take a minute or two. Great. So yeah, you can get here the kind of the URL to see this transaction load on Etherscan. And we'll just wait for it to be confirmed. Halfway there. Awesome. So that transaction has happened. We can see information about that. And now you should have 1 NFT instead of having 0 NFTs. So once again, we're going to call the balance of function of the NFT contract, and we're going to check the balance of our test wallet one more time. And you should see that, yeah, we have 1 NFT now, and it's great. You can actually see, if you go onto Etherscan and check out transactions, yeah, you can actually see that 1 minute ago we just claimed an NFT and it went to our address that we made and all that good stuff. And yeah, you automated that totally in code. congratulations. So now you know the very basics of ApeWorks in terms of being able to read on-chain data and make transactions. And it's kind of just the start of your journey, right? For more educational material, you can check out the ApeWorks Academy, which has a ton of good content on how to use ApeWorks to actually deploy contracts of your own, and you can make NFTs and ERC20s and DeFi contracts and all sorts of amazing stuff. You'll get that information there. Definitely hop into the ApeWorks Discord, introduce yourself, tell them that you found your way there through ApeStarter, which will be my way of figuring out how many people actually went through this exercise. Like I mentioned before, if you need help with the Testnet ETH stuff, also ask in there. I think you'll probably definitely be able to get some help that way. And for more general knowledge on how the Python programming language works, you can check out this free course from UC San Diego. I remember I took this course like 4 years ago or something, and it was great, changed my life, so highly recommend it. And thanks for taking the time to run through the lesson, and I can't wait to learn more about all of the cool stuff that you guys make with ApeWorks. Definitely kind of drop in the Discord any cool projects that you're working on, really looking forward to seeing that. Have a good one.